Someday.
Hi, I'm David with EV World News. We talk about electric vehicles, green energy, and the stock markets. And it's our first show of 2026.
Yay.
I'm here with Bill. Hey, Bill.
Hey, I'm still here. What about that?
Yay. Bill, let's go ahead and let's talk about these stats. So, while we've only been doing the EV World show for a little over 2 years, you've been doing the website a little bit longer than that.
Yeah, we just went, as of yesterday, into our official 28th year of continuous publication.
That's amazing, Bill. That's amazing that you've been able to continue that.
Stubborn. I don't want to give up. Hey, but I got a couple more stats that are really interesting.
Well, let's go ahead. Let's discuss.
Okay, so we have a feature on the website. It's called RS Stream, which of course is just my way of branding RSS, which is the an RSS feed, right? That goes into various types of browsers and things like that. It's just a way for me to get more information out wider without having to do a daily, or weekly email list. It's just doing that is so time intensive that it's just easier to set the computer up to generate this RSS feed. So I add to that every day, and pretty much every day. I decided, how many stories did we add to that feed in 2025, starting at midnight, January 1, 2025, and ending at midnight, January 1st, December 31st of 2025. We added to the RSS stream 19,150 stories. 19,150 stories.
It's amazing. Yeah, it's really, it's just hard to comprehend how many news articles come out about electric vehicles.
And that just basically anymore scratches the surface. It's so hard to keep up anymore. Well, now, if we had some volunteers,
there we go.
Maybe we could better keep up with it. But anyway, so there was that. And then I started earlier this year the EV World exclusive stories, which are the ones that I ask questions to various augmented reality, artificial intelligence, or what I call synthetic intelligence programs, and then they write that up. Like I did one today, and you can look at it. I'll tell you about in a minute. We did we posted on the website. I still find this hard to believe. 519 of those stories. And I just started it, I don't know, sometime last spring. 519 stories. By the way, I have that in the same period, we did 364 podcasts. Now that includes, the shorter ones and the longer ones and so on. So, for a little website with really just a handful of people, you and me, and Mike occasionally, we're actually generating or distributing, that's a better word, I think, distributing a lot of content when you start looking at the numbers. So that was our 2025. Busy, lots of information, hopefully reaching a lot of people and helping them.
Yeah, it's crazy sometimes when I look at the YouTube channel to see how many videos we've done. It's something like 800. It just seems nuts to think that put out that many videos on YouTube already. Anyways, because I still remember, it wasn't that long ago. I remember it's like doing the first one, all the work going into all this stuff.
Well, have I whipped you into shape now? Have I sort of molded you to maybe someday or someone else take this over and I can sit back and find
I've got some ideas on how to make it go a little better.
Okay.
I'm trying to work more closely with the green incubator people, the green to
Right.
gold folks.
Yep.
And I think there's just so many things as I work more with them and attend their events, like Earth Stock and things like that, that we could cross pollinate more,
Sure.
spread, EV world information to more listeners. And they get interns. They get people all the time applying to be interns.
Right.
And um, I'm like, and I've had some that I get sent resumes if I can use somebody, and it's like it's always, and some of them are pretty impressive, but they're not what we need.
Right.
We need somebody who would be interested in the news, would be interested in, helping post videos,
We,
research all the videos for
yeah.
or sorry, not videos, but all of the news stories that we want to repost, and and see where that goes. But
Yeah.
anyways,
What we need are disciples.
there you go, disciples.
So yeah,
Oh,
we're an EV. The term that's where the term evangelist came from, right?
mhm.
Evangelist. I mean, that's they promoted EVs.
There you go. There you go. Yeah. Yeah. There's a guy named Buzz down in Texas that calls himself the evangelist.
Yeah. Well,
Evangelist.
that term's been around probably a lot longer than Buzz has, but
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
let
Well,
them. Yeah, let them enjoy it.
he's not young. He's not young. So
Yeah. Has he been doing this for 28 years?
I don't think so. The only person I've seen in all the time we've been doing this, that's been in this space as long as you, is the guy that's doing the education, trying to teach people how to fix EV chargers, because he was the one that used to have an EV1. He was somebody we
Okay.
had on the show that he had an EV1 at one time. So, I know
Well,
he's
yeah,
been around a long time.
there's a few of those guys around, and some of them were my mentors. So
Yeah, he lived in LA and had an EV1.
yeah.
And yeah, I think he said he drives a Mercedes EQS currently. But
Well, good for him. All right, that's a nice car.
but you could go
Out of my pay grade, but
4 years old, and then they're not much. I mean, there are starting to be. I saw somebody on a Reddit thread found a bolt, an 18 bolt they picked up for $5,000 somewhere.
well,
And I
good.
think I think it might have been from a police auction.
Very possible.
Yeah, something like that.
I've got a 22 model, and it's great. I love it.
Well, the fact that it came from a police auction tells me that it's starting to become the drug dealer vehicle of choice.
I hope not. I noticed that there's a lady politician up in Michigan that was interviewed recently by some online guy in his podcast, and she mentioned the fact that she drives a Chevrolet Bolt, which I thought was okay, cool.
Yeah.
There's even a few politicians out there doing it.
Yep. You need some gold spinning rims.
Gold spinning rims. Nah,
Spinning rims. Yeah.
that's not my. You see any
not
gold?
your thing.
No gold chains around my
Okay.
neck. So
All right. Well, that'll be the next thing.
not my thing.
Yeah, Yogi's going to produce a new thumbnail for the videos of Bill with like wearing gold chains. That'll be the next thing.
Okay, well let me mention the fact I mentioned earlier. The fact that we use the what I call synthetic intelligence to generate these stories. So the one I generate today, I've noticed that there's a lot of our half a dozen or so kids that are riding around now in my neighborhood here in Papillion on either electric bikes, but generally the newest thing now are these electric sort of like dirt bikes for kids. I don't see any pedals, so I'm not sure whether they actually fall within the three classes. They may be outside that, but that's immaterial. So what I did is I was walking this week earlier, and I get back from my walk. There are three. By the time I got to the house, one had already left, but there were two e-bikes sitting in front of my driveway, and with two young kids. one of them, a young lady, they're all helmeted up and things. She's got, looks like about a 3-year-old, her sister or something sitting in front of her. And I thought, I'm going to take a picture. So I took a picture of them. And, but seeing these kids running around on these things and in the streets and on the walkways and things like that, I thought, I'm a little concerned about the safety of those kids, and also I'm just concerned about what their parents bought them, so that we don't have some of the things that have happened over the last couple of years with these things catching fire, right? So I had the synthetic intelligence write an article for me, and I have this photo, and I thought, you know what? I don't really want to use the photograph of these kids. Now, 2 of them, all you see is their eyes because they've got the full. But the little 3-year-old is there, and she's beaming away. She cute as a bug in a rug. Pardon the old man expression. And so I said, well, rather than use that as my photograph, I'll use that as the basis of an illustration. So I told in this case, Copilot, take this image and make a Manje image out of it, right? With the big, wide, blue-eyed kids and things. It did a great job. So if you go to EV World and you scroll down to the portion that says EV exclusive, EV World exclusive, you'll see that image that took those 3 kids in my driveway and made a Japanese style Manje illustration out of it, which I thought was kind of cool. Oh, good, you're gonna go over there. Yeah, there it is. Yep.
Got the one there with her mouth open so she can catch some bugs.
Right, exactly. Well, hey, we don't. First of all, it's winter, right? So you're not gonna get a lot of bugs. But the second is we have a real serious problem with not a lot of bugs anymore. So, but that's subject for another day.
The lack of bugs. Yes. The lack of bugs, the lack of bees, lack of birds. Yeah, it's all kind of weird. I've sometimes questioned, it's like, I don't see any birds today, but in the winter I still see birds, just not a lot. I've got some that I think weren't strong enough to fly south or something.
We have a serious problem in the way of habitat because obviously what do the birds eat generally?
Bugs.
They eat bugs, right? And if there are no bugs for them to eat, then you don't have as many birds. So these are some serious issues. And my Solapiary project, I finally came up with a way to pronounce that word, Solapiary, okay, which is taking what we would call a bee yard or an apiary, and you put a solar field around it, and it becomes a Solapiary. So anyway, I'm trying to address some of those issues with this project to see if we can, encourage more of birds and insects and bees and things like that. But anyway, that's completely off the subject, away from EVs, but really kind of related, actually. So
it is. Well, let's talk about this article about it's wintertime. People are always concerned about the range of EVs in wintertime. And while I didn't really go through this article in a big way, we're going to cover this. So there was a test done in Inner Mongolia. They tested 67 electric cars.
What looks to be over an ice field. This is the car that got the most mileage. This wasn't necessarily in the middle of the test. If you go to the original source, then you'll see all these cars lined up on what looks like a giant ice field or something. It's a large area covered with a lot of snow, and they just decide they're going to test to see how far these 67 different models of EVs, most of them from China, but there's some U.S. and European models included, and to see how far they go. And the results were kind of interesting. There's a graph if you go to the original source, there's a graph on it that lists all the various models that were tested, how far they drove, and how quickly they recharged, which was really interesting. This particular one, which is the Jiping was it B7, something like P7, I think.
P7.
Yeah, it drove the furthest of all the cars and charged among the fastest, less than half an hour from 20 to 80% in really cold temperatures, everything from about 10 degrees below, I think they had on one.
Minus 25.
Yeah.
10 Celsius to 25 below Celsius.
Yep. Yep.
Although I wouldn't call 10 Celsius cold. Shoot, that's what? That's like 40 degrees.
Oh, no, that's less than that. No. 10,
7, that'd be 39. That'd be 10 degrees Celsius would be 39 Fahrenheit.
No, zero Celsius is freezing, which for us is 32 degrees.
Right.
Okay.
So 10 degrees Celsius.
So 20 minus 20, I think is that minus 10 or minus 20 Fahrenheit is the same in Celsius. So these are all below zero tests.
Oh, but some of it. Oh, maybe it is at minus 10. Yeah, minus 10 to minus 25. Yeah,
right.
My bad. The dash was in a weird place on the page.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is about the same then. Yeah, that's pretty cold. Top performers lost 25 to 35% range, while the worst models lost over 50%. U.S. brands, mainly Tesla, placed in the upper middle tier. Let's see.
Yeah, so if you go to the original source, you'll see that graph. So
yeah, let me just see what I've got here.
Yeah, should you just be below the summary?
Actual range. Yeah, I'm looking at it.
Okay.
Xpeng was number 1. Yangwing U7 was number 2. Zeekr 001. Tesla Model 3 came in 4th. So they're saying this percentage is CLTC range.
That's the Chinese version of our miles
EPA
per gallon range over here. Yeah.
Okay, so they're saying the best one at, I guess this is at minus 25, had 54%. The Yangwing was at 52. The Tesla was only at 48%, so that's less than half.
Yep.
Wow, some of these now. They were also driving it on packed snow. Looks like. So
yeah, either that. I don't know if they've got frozen lakes over there in Inner Mongolia. I have my doubts, but you never know. There might be.
Yeah, looking to see if they had any other. The only U.S. vehicle that I see in the list was the Model 3. So I don't see anything else in there. They had like MGs,
my bad.
BYDs. But you know what? The list I see doesn't show all 67 vehicles. It only shows about 25 of them. Oh, no, that shows the top 20.
Yeah.
So there obviously were some that weren't in there. Let me see. Efficiency was a big deal. They measured how many kilowatt hours of electricity a car used to travel 62 miles, which is basically 100 kilometers. Small light cars were the best. The BYD Seagull. Isn't that the one that's only like $10,000?
Yeah, that's a Seagull. I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, used 23.5 kilowatts to go 100 kilometers. The BYD Seal 6 took third, and Geely took second. The Tesla Model Y, 34.9 per 100 versus 23 for the best one.
Now, what I would like to know is what were the climate settings in the cars? Because I found out with my Volt, about 25% of my energy when I'm driving it now around here in relatively cold weather. About 25% of the energy is being used for the climate control system. So I'm wondering, did guys like Xiping, as they told their drivers, do not use any of the climate control systems in the car? Of course, they'd have to keep the windscreen defrosted and things like that, but don't turn on the heater. Don't turn on this heated, which I love in my car, the heated steering wheel. This is the first car I've ever had with a heated steering wheel. It's great. The in-seat heaters, things like that.
Or the people in Britain the people in Britain who did, tried to get that extreme range and they turned off everything and drove 25 miles per hour across the whole country.
Oh yeah, yeah, and made it.
Yeah. 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 Obviously, there's some ways to stretch something. Somebody for Inside EVs that reviews cars, and he said that a certain car was the best EV he drove in 2025,
Mm-hmm.
and it's the Xiaomi X or YU7. Now that's the one that's supposed to looks a little bit like, all the Xiaomis look like Porsches.
Yeah, exactly. They just they basically either borrowed or hired away designers or something that
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean this
I
car
mean,
looks
it's
specifically
great
like a
looking
Porsche Macan.
car.
Yeah, but it looks suspiciously like a Porsche Macan.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Anyways, it's a mid-size EV crossover made by Xiaomi, which is a cell phone maker. So we got a cell
Uh-huh.
phone maker who this guy says is the best.
Well,
car made.
Foxconn's doing that now, and Apple unsuccessfully tried.
Yeah.
So
It's about $35,000 for one of those. They had
compared
200,000
to
orders.
compared to a Macon, which is how much?
Oh, probably 80.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they're trying to compare it to the Model Y. But 200,000 orders in the first hour of it going on sale. That's a lot of orders. But that's the sister car to the one that Jim Farley from Ford liked so much.
Yep.
He brought back the Xiaomi SU7, which was the car that looks suspiciously like a Porsche Panamera. Let's see. I mean, it looks nice inside. I mean, it's nice all around. It's for $35,000. This is not really, what you'd expect. I mean, that's pretty sharp. They're nice looking. Let's see if there's any more pictures. Just not really. But when I just look at this,
so I actually posted it but didn't read it, which is one of the things of having to do too much with too little. So did he have any comments on why he liked it?
Just well, I can see why he liked it. I mean, man, this looks nice.
Yeah,
all around.
So it looks like he's somewhere in the Swiss or French Alps or something.
Well, this is in China. You can't buy these outside of China.
Well, how did Farley get his?
Well, he dragged it out.
Well, you can get special, permits and things like that.
Yeah.
You sure that I don't know. It looks suspiciously like it was somewhere in the Alps, but who knows?
Let's see. See what it says here. The vehicle itself isn't all that groundbreaking. Technically, the battery techs sell the body design. The self-developed motors are technically impressive. A sub 3 second 0 to 60, 680 horsepower. But for a car that cheap, that's crazy.
Okay, I lost the audio again.
Nice. Oh, and some people are calling it a knockoff of the Ferrari Puro Sangue, but I've only seen a couple of Puro Sangues on like Instagram videos. Let's see. Whereas the Model Y's interior and form factor about the same as they ever been, the Spartan interior and stiff ride feel like a full generation behind what the YU7 is offering. Much better. So just saying it's better appointed, it's funner to drive, but you can't get it here in the States. So I guess it really doesn't matter, does it? It'd be 70,000 if you bought it here.
Cabinet color a little bit better, and also
I hear you, Bill. There we go. Bill exits out back in. Okay, let's see here. So let's talk about Norway. Norway hits 96% EV market share. Well, Bill's having more challenges. We think it's because his memory is full in his computer. Norway wrapped up 2025 with 96% of new car sales being fully electric, the highest penetration rate globally. Tesla sales fell globally. They're surging in Norway, showing regional market dynamics matter. Norway will add up to $5,000 in value-added tax per EV starting in January, after beginning to tax EVs in 2023, testing whether demand holds without extreme incentives. And let's see if Bill comes back. Can you hear me now, Bill?
Yeah, suddenly all my audio dies.
Well, your mic was still going.
Oh,
it's just
hear you
being able to hear us. Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah.
You didn't hear me swearing, did you?
No. All right. So we've been talking about the write down, but Ford has completely discontinued the F-150 Lightning. They've concluded production of the current generation, pivoting to the extended range EV that's going to mix a gas generator. It's kind of interesting. Jim Farley frames this as a customer-driven profitability focus, but it represents one of the largest EV retreats by a legacy automaker.
Yeah.
Once again, I think it's wrong fit for the market. They're trying to bring an EV to market and charging $80,000 plus for it. Was that really what Ford needed?
No. It's just, I don't know. That's obviously it's their best-selling vehicle, and they thought, well, we'll just offer it as an EV model, and that's now the interesting thing is that I posted this morning a story from a guy that says, I'm a mechanic, and these are the only electric vehicles I would buy. Guess which one he suggested buying?
He probably liked the F-150.
He loved the F-150. He said, just as long as you don't try to tow 5,000 pounds with it, it'll do everything that a pickup truck owner wants to do.
That's nice. Well, but like I said, it came out as such an expensive vehicle. It worked for Tesla when they came out with the Model S, but it was really a limited, it still was limited sales with even that, right? Did Tesla really become profitable before the Model 3?
Oh, no.
It took a less expensive EV for them to make a difference there. And then we look at like this YU7 for $35,000. Even if you took the 100% tariff to bring it to the US, it'd be $70,000. That's still not terrible for that car.
No, just as long, just as long as the quality's there. I still have my reservations about,
Chinese
cutting
cell
corners.
phone makers.
Yeah, cutting corners and things like that. So,
yeah. All right. So we've talked a little bit about Rivian. Rivian stock rallied 48% in late 25, rising from $15 to over $20 a share. Lucid has been as low as it's been, but oddly, it's up today. So go figure. It's interesting looking sometimes at some of the stocks, scrolling by on the screen and trying to figure out why.
Rivian is doing.
AMD up 3%, Microsoft down 2%, NewScale's up 12.5% today. That's typical, though. You see the nuclear stocks, they're way
all
up,
over
way
the
down.
place. Yeah.
Nano's up 12%, Oklo up 6%.
Ford's up.
Yeah, it's interesting to kind of see where some of these end up. Tesla is down a couple percent today. It was up almost to $500. It's down to $440 again. Rivian down a little today, $1940.
Rivian off. I still don't regret having sold at the peak.
Yeah, Lucid up almost 4% today.
Yeah.
Ford is one that doesn't really fluctuate much. It's up 1%.
Well, look, it's a legacy, man. It's been in this business for 125 years.
Yeah, it really shouldn't be all that volatile.
Yeah.
But it's interesting to see them. Among EV startups, Rivian is positioning as a sole viable challenger while Lucid continues to struggle. Motley Fool suggests avoiding both Rivian and Lucid in
Yeah.
favor of Tesla, calling them potential stocks headed to zero. I still,
Nah.
yeah, if Lucid loses too much value, the Saudis take it private. That's
Yeah.
my bet.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah.
then that's a win for all of the shareholders, anyways, because you'll get bought at a premium. So Rivian and Lucid are both burning cash fast. Lucid's situation is more precarious with the stock near all-time lows.
Well,
2020.
I was just going to say, I think there's a lot more excitement on the Lucid side of what they're going to be offering in the form of the R2 and then the R3 that's sort of
Rivian,
in
you mean?
development stage.
Yeah,
Rivian. Yeah, Rivian. Yeah.
But I
There's
think
more to.
Gravity has got its potential, though.
Oh yeah, but it's here. It's sort of done. It meets a certain market niche, but I think the Rivians are, to me, they have more buzz about them, positive buzz about them, as opposed to any potential negative buzz that around Lucid.
Yeah, it's just kind of, I don't know. I just don't see those companies going bankrupt like some of the other players we've seen.
No,
They have the right partners helping them out, that those stocks just don't go away. It's saying Lucid's planned launch of a lower priced mid-size EVs in 26 is central to its turnaround thesis. Analysts betting growth hinges entirely on scaling beyond luxury. So here's something I really didn't expect. This was something you had on EV World. Battery electric storage system safety. 89% of fires are system level, not cell failures. So the real culprit isn't actually batteries. And battery storage systems that had fires, only 11% originated at the lithium ion level. 89% came from issues like wiring controls, integration, and installation errors.
Yeah.
I
thought that was really interesting. It was a write-up by a gentleman who writes a lot about battery technology in LinkedIn. So I thought this one was important enough to highlight it.
Yeah. So Niraj Singhal of Simco Group, which is a BESS equipment manufacturer, emphasized that engineering discipline at the system level is a critical safety factor. Let's see. California has a law that just came out yesterday that requires large-scale projects to meet with local fire authorities 30 days before permit applications. That's kind of different.
But sort of logical. They were the one with the Moss Landing fire, which it looks like from the photo that I found, well, it was just in one of the sort of 40-foot trailer kind of things, that shipping container type of arrangement. Then later photographs, apparently that had spread, because some of the night photos showed really a lot of flame and fire going on. So I can understand you'd want the local fire people to be aware of what's there and ways to deal with it.
Yeah. Helion fusion plant construction progresses in Washington state. Helion began building support structures in Malaga, Washington in July 25 for its 50 megawatt Orion fusion reactor. A deal with Microsoft drives the timeline. The facility is designed to deliver power to Microsoft under a purchase agreement. Microsoft's data center energy demands are accelerating fusion development. Washington state is becoming a fusion hub. The state is positioning as the world's leading fusion energy center with ready access to transmission infrastructure and a legacy of energy innovation. I
haven't looked up where that, you mentioned it. What was the name of the site where they're building it?
Malaga, Malaga, Washington, Chelan County, or Chelan County. I don't know how you say that.
Oh, okay. It's over on the east side of the Cascades.
Oh, okay.
Chelan County, yeah.
Chelan.
So it's on the west.
I
west
wasn't
county.
even close. Yeah. So fusion's kind of an interesting deal. And I've talked about this a bunch of times. There's people starting to get some fusion stuff to work. There's some challenges with where is the tritium going to come from to power all these fusion reactors. Can they actually
the moon? Isn't it coming from the moon?
No. No, but that's a good thought. Maybe we find some on an asteroid. Yeah, it's
One Eye Atlas, or Three Eye Atlas. That's where they're going to get it from.
Is that an incoming asteroid?
Oh, no. You haven't been following Three Eye Atlas, the comet that's not a comet?
No.
Oh, that's a different We're
story.
talking about EVs. Let's not go. But boy, is that a bizarre situation. They thought it's sort of labeled as a comet, but it's not a comet and acts absolutely nothing like a comet.
It's taking evasive maneuvers?
Well, sort of. It's not obeying the currently understood laws of physics. Let's put it that way. Yeah, Three Eye Atlas. If anybody's list, do a little research on Three Eye Atlas. That is a bizarre body in space that doesn't act like anything we are familiar with.
That's that's a bit shocking, but who knows? Maybe somebody's coming to visit us.
Well, there's been speculation along that line already. Yeah. Although now it's headed out of the. I think here about 2 weeks it'll pass Jupiter. Yeah. So it's headed on its way out, but it did some really strange things once it approached the sun and got behind the sun where we couldn't see it anymore. And then when it came out, it was doing some strange stuff. Anyway, we're taking time away from EVs here, but just look it up.
I'm going to get way off topic anyways. So that's not really going to matter. Let's see here what I'm showing. So I'm going to share something here. I made something to some new laws, or not necessarily some new laws, but some things changed in the stock market.
I know where you're going.
And tokenizing projects.
Right.
And something happened in the fusion energy space this week that why I wanted to explain this. Now, Bill and I talk a lot off camera about tokenizing various projects. We've discussed everything from tokenizing buffalo herds to airplane hangars, farmland, different things. But this is kind of an important piece of information that just came out. And this is, if you're trading in stocks and you ever deal with the fact that it takes time, like a couple of days for your stocks to clear and you to get funded the money in your account, well, this is changing all of that. So in December 25, the U.S. financial system had a landmark regulatory initiative from something called the CFTC that has a infrastructure project with the DTCC. DTCC is who clears all of your stock transactions. So when you have a stock sell, this organization called DTCC is kind of at the heart worldwide. It processes something like $4 quadrillion in transactions annually. Okay, I mean, it's just nuts. Providing clarity and the plumbing required to integrate digital assets into the heart of regulated markets. The Digital Assets Pilot Program removed long-standing barriers, enabling the use of tokenized assets as collateral in derivatives markets. So a couple things are happening here. Something called the Canton Network is going to tokenize U.S. treasuries, and it's going to be in the trillions of dollars what they're going to tokenize. Now, I'll get into some of these other slides, but basically there's been some recent things that went on, but the main one here is the SEC provided the DTCC with a critical, what's called a no action letter, clearing the path for, meaning that it's allowed to tokenize various financial instruments. When I say various, they could basically tokenize any financial instruments. And then they have this DTC announced a partnership going live with the Canton Network to tokenize custodied U.S. treasuries. All right. Now, it basically, what this guy here is saying from the DTCC, the CEO of the DTCC, the collaboration creates a roadmap to bring real-world, high-value tokenization use cases to market, starting with the U.S. Treasury securities and eventually expanding to a broad spectrum of DTC-eligible assets. Well, I'm in the nuclear space, and so I was trying to explain to one of my partners about how this is going to affect some of the things we're doing in nuclear at some point. And then the first stock to do this and to go on to securitize ends up being Trump Media. Stock ticker DJT announced that they are providing tokens to all stock shareholders, and they're giving extra reward benefits to people who are token holders as the first major company to go to that. Yeah, well, I know Bill wouldn't be that, but see, the thing is, the DJT stock is merging with TAE Technologies, which is a leading fusion energy provider in the nuclear space. So Trump Media is essentially becoming an energy company.
Yeah.
And but I met the CEO of TAE a couple months ago, and he was saying he doesn't expect them to really be operational to be able to sell power. He's hoping they can be in a position to sell power in 2031, which isn't really much different than the SMR space. Now, your fusion projects are typically, most of them that I've seen are looking at the 50 megawatt kind of production. And part of that is because of the restriction of the lack of fuel. They would like to go much bigger, but there's such a shortage of the fuel. So I kind of question the idea is to produce them in multi-gigawatt type setups, but the fuel doesn't exist for that.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see where that leads to. But I created this little slide deck just to give people an understanding of what's kind of going on here. Yeah. And but it's basically just saying that they're going to allow, let's see if we get to the page that really shows the big benefits. And it's interesting, BlackRock's in it, Franklin Templeton is getting in it, Fidelity. So tokenized U.S. treasuries, though, 33 billion tokenized real world asset market is part of it. 27 trillion. Oh, so there's annually something like 27 trillion in treasury markets traded, or U.S. treasury bills traded. Okay, so here's where the big advantage comes on. So it basically allows the collateral to move quicker, meaning that traditionally, if you're clearing this transaction through a broker dealer, the broker dealer has to have so much liquidity to clear the transaction. There's this new thing called atomic settlement, meaning that it's going to be able to clear with each party's money, which isn't normally the standard in your stock market trades. Usually what happens is you sell, a market maker buys, and then the market maker sells to the buyer. And in this case, it's eliminating that step. So that it's going to, and so what's going to do is going to make the instantation, it's going to make the transactions instantaneous, and it would also allow you to sell your stock after trading hours. Right. So if you wanted to trade it on a Saturday evening when the stock market's been closed for a day, you can do that.
Right.
And
I was going to say this follows most crypto type arrangements. There is a fee. So it is, that takes place, and there is a slot that you have to get into the blockchain to have all of this happen. So, so it generally is instantaneous in that, it can be milliseconds, or it could be, an hour or so, depending on where you end up in the slot. on the chain to have the transaction take place.
Yeah, and it's also going to allow fractional ownership of shares. You and I have discussed the idea of fractionally owning like a Berkshire Class A.
Yeah. Come on. Now, hey, Warren, you're retired. You're sitting back. You're taking it easy. You don't have the pressures in the office. How about you and I and Dave get together and talk about fractionalizing A shares?
There you go. It really is a reasonable idea.
We're all three here in Omaha, right?
Yeah. But anyways, yeah. So I'm just saying it's important that this has happened. It's not going to affect most people, obviously. In certain spaces, though, if you're trying to clear your stock and you have it and it's available as a token, it's going to be able to be cleared instantaneously. But anyways, I wanted to bring that up because I had seen that in the news, and I thought it was the fact that the DJT stock jumped right out and became the first one to offer this was I thought pretty unique.
That's a positive sign. In fact,
yeah, and it's in the energy space, so I thought that was real. Interesting, just kind of see.
Yeah, I saw an article that is projecting that rather than Bitcoin being the crypto of the future, that Ethereum would be the one that jumps out and has significant growth potential. So none of which I own. I think I own like a fraction of Bitcoin, and that's it.
Mm-hmm. Right. So, no, I'm with you. Ethereum is expensive to trade. When you move Ethereum, it's the one that has the high gas costs.
That's because of the high gas cost. Yeah. Gas, by the way, is what we're talking about. If you trade a stock, you're going to pay a broker a fee, right?
In theory.
In theory. I mean, you can have an account where there's no, broker fees. It's whatever those levels are. So, but with trading most cryptos, there is a fee, and typically that's called a gas fee. I don't know why they called it that, but that's the name that stuck. So that's could be just fractions of a fraction of a penny, or it could be a more significant amount of money. And in Ethereum's case, so a lot of that has to do with the processing time and the amount of the where you fall in the slot of doing the transaction. So, if I understand correctly.
Yes. This year, 15 nuclear reactors are expected to come online. So for the past few years, we've only had reactors going offline. This will be the first year that we've had a net increase in nuclear energy. 15 are supposed to come online worldwide. That obviously, it's not most. That's not the United States.
No, most of those are China.
Yeah. China is driving much of the growth. The U.S. is also planning on $80 billion nuclear initiative, the largest program since the 1970s. The thing about that is so much of energy, electric vehicles, clean energy, solar, all that, the Chinese are the leaders. And that's one of the reasons why a lot of politicians hate it, is because we've really fallen behind where the Chinese are. And
there's a couple articles I posted that basically say that too. So
yeah, and I think that's why a lot of politicians give the hate to some industries, is simply because we've fallen so far behind in these spaces.
Interesting. There is. Let me see if I remember correctly. The head of Toyota says that if we connected all of the electric cars, I don't know whether it's currently or in the near future, whatever his reference was there, that would generate the equivalent of, I think it was 40 nuclear power plants.
Wow.
Yeah, I thought so too.
I guess it depends. When I think of different types of nuclear power plants, so the stuff that I'm working on is typically in the 10 to 100 megawatt range. Although I'm getting a lot of requests for 75 to 200 megawatts. Okay, but that you would accomplish that with multiple small modular reactors. You wouldn't have one big reactor, you'd have multiple small ones. But when you think of a cooling tower type old style reactor, those are typically, each cooling tower probably represents 1 gigawatt. And that's enough energy for, if you have a low power area, small homes, all that, it could potentially power 1 million homes. Okay. And in China, they say that a gigawatt will do 4 million homes.
Oh, yeah.
Because they don't use as much electricity as Americans do. But I actually question, it's supposed to be 1,000 homes per megawatt for easy math. But in the US, I think you're lucky to get 500 because we use a lot of juice compared to other countries. And our cost of electricity is lower than other countries. And we take electricity for granted here.
Yeah, kind of like, we kind of treat it like running tap water.
Yeah, like it's unlimited and you can't just run water all the time. Let's see here. We didn't get to talking about the Renault EV range deal. So Renault set a prototype deal. It says the Falante prototype drove 1,008 kilometers in under 10 hours at an average 102 kilometers per hour. That's about 65-ish?
No, 60.
60?
Yeah.
Okay.
62, right there, 63.
It used 7.8 kilowatts per 100 kilometers. Now, when we were talking earlier, that one that won the Chinese winter test was the BYD Ping, was it? Oh, it was a Dolphin, right? The Dolphin.
Seal.
Seagull. The Seagull was around 24 kilowatts. This one is less than 8 kilowatts, which is twice as efficient as typical production EVs. Most EVs are 13 to 14 kilowatts per 100 kilometers. Demonstrates what's possible with extreme aerodynamics and efficient powertrains. Let's see if we got a. Oh,
yeah. There's a bunch of photographs. It's different. Think of the old. Was it Oldhausen, the old Indy race cars?
Yeah,
kind of like that.
Yeah, that's okay. So this is a little bit of an extreme model here. Might as well just put them on a bicycle. You know.
No, well, I don't know.
This is probably more aerodynamic than a bicycle.
Oh, that's possible.
Yeah. Sets it, but it's still.
Again, go click the where it says the abstract car buzz. There you go.
Let me see. Give me a second to reload that. Just car buzz, yeah. I mean, it's nice looking. If you know, it would catch some eyeballs around here. Let's see.
Well, I don't think it would legally qualify as an automobile on most of our roads here. So
probably not. It doesn't look like that big of a vehicle when you compare it to the humans, but it's got a cool look to it.
Oh yeah. There's a reason it went that far.
Yeah, that looks
on a single
efficient.
charge.
Yeah, I was going to say that. I thought maybe I'm just thinking of something like a little box, boxy small car, and here we got this super aerodynamic vehicle. Anyways, all right. Well, anyways, folks, I want to thank everybody for watching. That's all we got for today. Bill, you covered everything you wanted to cover, right?
I got everything I wanted to cover.
Yeah. Okay, good. All right. Well, anyways, Happy New Year, everyone. And we'll be back next Tuesday. Otherwise, everyone, have a great day. Well, I can't end the show. Apparently, my button doesn't work.